Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Ladies and gentlemen, on the couch with us.
How did this happen?
This is maybe the biggest guest we've ever had.
I think so.
Ben Franklin, everybody.
Yes.
Hello, yes. It is I.
Ben Franklin.
Founding father, author, inventor, Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin
Middle initial.
Can we call you, would you prefer Ben or Benjamin? Is Benjamin, what would you prefer?
Whatever you're more comfortable with.
I would actually, Mr. Franklin, I feel like sounds...
I don't know. I like a Benny.
Benny? All right.
Don't be ludicrous, Tom.
Looks like it crazy. We just got him here. I don't even know where he came from. Did you set this up?
So, Ben Franklin.
He did, but apparently he also booked a bagel guy at the same time.
Yeah, our biggest client. One of our biggest new clients.
You might know I invented the bagel.
By the way, Ben.
In the Revolutionary War, we were out of wheels, so I invented the bagel, and they could eat it afterwards.
I believe that was when you were in Poland, right? Because it's I believe it started in Poland in the 1800s.
I believe I famously have never been to Poland, Daniel.
We got to get you out the back door, Ben, before our biggest sponsor comes in.
You don't want the biggest new sponsor to walk in and see that Tom just lets crazy comedians wander through our back room.
They were running some shim operations.
This
like, what
is
the hell?
so 2011. It hurts. This is back in the old, back in my house. Where did you come from? Okay, never mind. All right, he's here.
I believe you well know, Daniel. I invented a potion of internal youth in the 1800s.
The Kelsey brothers don't do this.
No, take that, Kelsey's. You ain't got nothing. All right.
So Ben,
Thomas, I understand your education's lacking. You might know me as the inventor of the lightning rod.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah.
Thomas, have you ever been struck by lightning?
I have not. Ben.
You're welcome.
That's because of the lightning rod. I did pull a gigantic grounding rod out from my house and I just threw it in the garbage.
That in.
Yeah. Everybody's like, "Oh, your whole family's gonna die." I'm here to report it hasn't happened. Yeah, it's still fine.
You're fine,
Thomas. That was probably enough copper for 5 or 10 pennies.
So Ben, now I know that
the wig is so awesome. Dude. If you have never watched our podcast, because now you don't listen to podcasts, you watch podcasts. If you've never watched our podcast, you need to go and subscribe at Tom and Dan Live to YouTube or Twitch so you can see. I'm almost 50 years old, and this is my career. This is okay. Anyway, we're doing it.
So, perhaps I need new bifocals. I couldn't even tell Tom was wearing a wig.
So Ben, tell us about some other things.
Yeah, what's been going on?
Like, I know that there's been some indiscretions.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't there some syphilis?
Yeah. But I think,
HPV or something?
To give Ben some credit, I think everybody back then had syphilis.
I honestly, now if you really think about it, I would say that Ben Franklin was the precursor to the modern day politician, because most of them needed that drive to get things done.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Most of your top tier politicians are horny animals because they're you were doing a lot of stuff. You were inventing a lot of stuff. You were worried about the country. You were worried about our bird, right?
I am one of the few founding fathers who on record has a French prostitute budget.
Mm-hmm. Well, busy CEOs. They, they're.
You need to blow up some steam.
It's like the Clinton. You look, the Dave Chappelle joke. You look out your office. You're like, I'm busy. And you're like, you.
I mean, the Clinton thing was absolutely what I was thinking.
And I fully admit to all of my bastard sons, Biden.
Wow. I like that you made it political. Which I didn't think he would do. Normally he doesn't do that. I like that.
Leave Biden alone. He's out of it now. It's a letter of the old man.
What's less than a lame duck, right? Like, what is that? I don't even know what that is.
It's funny how everybody's like, oh, Biden's done.
Oh, people forgot.
They're like, quit making fun of this old man.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think Maisie knows he was the president. I'm like, who's the president now? She's like, I don't know. I don't think anybody's there. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
It's like I always say, Tom, the cat in gloves catches no mice.
Oh, okay. I have no idea what that is.
Have you ever tried to put gloves on a cat, Ben? It is very difficult.
I invented cat gloves.
They're jumping around crazy. They're falling over.
Yeah. There was a lady. Oh, no. I'll tell that story later when Ben's not here. Sorry.
So, Ben, I'm curious tell me about the kite, because from what I know.
You see, Tom, it's a piece of paper suspended between the structure of sticks, and when the wind blows against it.
You know what's funny? It's almost like Ross was here, because you would ask a question that dumb, and he would do that, right?
Yeah.
If Ross were here and you say, hey, Ross, what's a kite? He would.
It's almost like Ben is wired a certain way.
It's like I always say, the hasty bitch brings forth blind puppies.
All right. Okay. So
That's actually pretty good. I like that
one.
one.
So what is that even supposed to mean? Like the hasty dog that is like just
It means,
a lady dog. That
the
is what that word
impatient
means in my time.
The impatient lady will make her kids blind.
But in what way? Because they're incest, or
Well,
what? Why? Like they didn't do their due diligence.
I don't
with
know.
picking the right. Anyway, so
I can't explain everything to you, Tom, but from now on, when you see a blind puppy, you'll know why.
Yeah, okay. Hasty bitch.
So the kite. I always wondered
The
why.
trick is the string, Tom. You have to.
No, I know how
You have to have a
works.
string, or else it just flies away.
No, everybody.
At some point, they must have thought that was magic, though, right? The fact that the kite was flying in the air, and Ben's holding it, and that's how he was impressing the prostitutes.
Well, everybody always
"Look at this."
gave you so much credit for flying a kite into a lightning storm.
I don't think that really. I don't think anything ever. Like I'm at a time now between your grandpa's stories, your dad's stories, my grandpa's stories, my dad's stories, and now Ben Franklin on our couch, where I don't honestly believe anything that anybody's ever told me.
I just always thought, even as a kid, I'm like, well, people had to have seen lightning strike the ground. That's been going on since the atmosphere
Yeah, but
existed, right?
they didn't know that it was electricity. They didn't have. I don't think they had that concept.
Well, they
right?
saw trees get struck by lightning. They started forest fires. Like they saw like the after effects. Like, oh, this tree got
They thought
struck.
that was God's
Correct. God's wrath is what it was chalked up to.
But
God's wrath, God's lighter.
And the thunder was the devil bowling.
But then everyone's like, oh, Ben
when the
Franklin.
sun shines out when it's raining, devil's beating his wife. Remember that one?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
But flew a kite into a lightning storm, and I was like, well, everybody would have probably had the same thought as Ben, like, well, lightning's gonna strike that thing, then we'll know what's going on.
But I guess they didn't know what lightning was, so the kite was instrumental
To
in
the
that.
contrary, Tom, previous to my experiments, lightning was known to strike willy-nilly, just anywhere about, and you couldn't predict where it would strike. What I did was show that you could direct the flow of lightning into a specific spot, and it wasn't so much the kite itself. Any fool can fly a kite in a thunderstorm, Tom. It was the tying of a key to that kite that was,
I
was
wonder
the
how hard-
key to
Okay.
the whole experiment.
Can I pause for a second? I wonder how hard this is for him to give real information to us in a character form. You know what I mean? Like he's like, these guys are so dumb. I have to pretend to be.
No, if we're paused, if we're fully paused,
we are
no,
fully
give me a hole that I can jump in. That's the best.
All
Yeah.
right, that's
Leave
fair.
the key out, and then I got something to say.
Okay,
All right,
great.
time
All
in.
right, good to know. Good. Unpause.
Well, back to the key.
Yes, Tom. It was to my outhouse. That's not often recorded. I had a locked outhouse.
Oh, breaking news.
Yes.
Did you know that? The key to his outhouse. You melt that. Uh-oh.
Too many apprentices about. I couldn't have them using all my corn cobs.
Well, I always wondered, Ben, though, if you knew the lightning was going to come down the string,
Correct.
why didn't you tie it to something else? Why are you holding on to it?
Did he hold it? I don't even.
I did tie it to a stick, Tom. I'm not a fool.
Okay.
It was the guy who came along and painted that painting in your history book in South Florida.
I don't think that was ever
quite
real.
the idiot. Not
Oh,
I.
okay, yeah.
Not I, Tom.
Every cartoon always has a Ben Franklin,
Yes, that's
a
right.
guy with a wig holding a kite.
Yes,
he's
yeah.
being struck by lightning, and he's like, oh, and he's getting shocked.
And it turns out I, Ben Franklin, am smarter than the average cartoonist.
Okay. I thought you were holding the kite, being a lizard, and then I see your bones.
Yeah.
And I will admit it is that early on I did put out some information. I put out some pictures of my own showing me holding the kite. So if someone tried to recreate my key experiment, they would fail, and I would retain my grip on electricity.
All right. So, and then from that, Ben, you were able then to create the light bulb and
The chat room saying
I
that
don't
they
know.
think they thought you made your stepson that you didn't really like fly the kite.
Oh, I made him tie it to the stick. He got it up into the clouds for me. Ben Franklin wasn't going to fly that thing up there.
Yeah, that
It wasn't like we flew a kite for a week scenario waiting for a thunderstorm.
I mean-
I made the redheaded stepchild go out and fly the kite into the clouds, tie it to the stick while I observed from what I call the blast bunker.
Okay, who would guess that the chat room would love to participate? They have questions for Benjamin, who's here.
Why don't you let them speak, Tom or Dan? For as I always say, 100 thieves cannot strip one man naked, especially if his skin's off.
That's an aggressive one, man. Wow, that's like you steal something
Hold
from
on.
Ben Franklin. He's gonna skin you alive. Apparently, good God.
100 thieves can't strip you naked if you have no skin. What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know. Question from the chat room. This is from Go Surfing Instead. Side story, Mr. Franklin. I saw the rank coward, a bald eagle, earlier today, stealing a mullet from an osprey. As I recall, you'd advocated for the turkey to be our national anthem.
I wanted the turkey, a proud, noble bird, to be our national bird.
Why did we not end up with the turkey?
The eagle is, as far as I was concerned, it was a carrion grazer. They feed on dead meat, and the turkey, proud and noble. You ever tried to hunt a turkey?
I've not.
I have not.
It is hard as hell.
No, really.
This is your musket ball must hit them exactly in the head, or else their voluminous feathers will deflect almost any shot.
We're dipping into Ram Davesy misinformation territory now. I like it. I like it.
Also, eagle delicious. It should have been our Thanksgiving bird. I was recommending a full switcheroo. That was my thing. I wanted to eat eagles.
Oh,
yeah, some
okay,
would say that you invented even the term switcheroo.
Correct.
Yeah, that was a bit original.
Well, if you think about
it's in the Constitution. I snuck it in there.
We do eat the turkey for Christmas and for
Born in
Thanksgiving.
Boston,
That's
on January
American.
17th,
Market while they were still open.
1706.
They were just
Yeah.
killing them, man. Putting it out there, carving them up.
Yeah. And then I remember when I was in Alaska, it's lousy with bald eagles, and they're like pigeons of Alaska. They're flying around. People are like,
get out of here. Get out of here, America.
Shooing them away like pigeons. Anyway, so what else did you
I have
invent?
another question from the chat. I mean, they are just the questions coming in. I mean, not very often.
Let the chat room
Not
do it.
very often you get to tune in to your local podcast that you want to see, and there is a historical ghost sitting on the couch. This one's from our friend EJ. He says, "How does Franklin feel about Philadelphia now? It's such a dirty city, and all the sports teams there are kind of stinky."
Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. I will always love and appreciate it. It's always my city, and I love their proud sports tradition of throwing batteries at opposing teams, which of course is an homage to my invention of electricity.
Wow! Boom! Mind blown.
They're celebrating Ben Franklin.
Pause. Good prov. Unpause.
As they hit some
it's usually a grandma because your throw isn't that good. You end up hitting a grandma who's there. She doesn't barely know she's there, and it hits a D battery right in the face, knocks her teeth out. They give her a couple of. They give her some gear from the game.
Now, I don't. Was it you that invented the battery, Ben, or?
Well, no. The battery is when people throw batteries. He was saying you didn't even understand.
It's an homage to me inventing electricity to begin with.
Yeah. But someone else invented the battery.
Yeah,
Right. It was way down
it's
the
like
line.
saying, Ben Franklin, did you write the works of Shakespeare? No, I invented the damn alphabet, Tom.
Yeah. Well, I guess technically, electricity was God's invention.
That's
right?
true. That's what my mom
You want to
said.
go back further, far enough.
That's what my mom said. And my mom also said, "God don't make no junk."
But it took Ben Franklin.
lie.
It took Ben Franklin to take God's wrath and harness it to man's work.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the whores for a little bit. You were a man of many lovers, and
I like that.
Yeah. Why did it seem that you, out of most politicians of your day, seem to have an insatiable appetite for sex?
Well, Daniel, it's like I always say, he that never eats too much will never be lazy.
That makes so much sense.
I also am known to say, dally not with other folks' women or money. So,
Well, people do that one all the time, right? Like, that's a big one.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like, just to, again, to not pile on Ben, I feel like a lot of people back in the day had extramarital affairs and different women. I don't know how tight marriages were, especially when rich and successful
I would imagine
men.
that, rich and successful men kind of like, I'm going to do whatever I want. And you just,
I'm in a class that lets me...
because I don't even feel like the woman you were dating at the time and or married to would have the power to even speak up if you cheated on her, right? I mean, like...
not to defend myself too much, but imagine a scenario where you are there in Philadelphia with your beautiful, lovely wife, but then you're called away on business to France. And the only way to get there is on a boat powered by God's breath, Tom.
How long does it take, Ben?
Approximately 1 out of those 6 boats just sinks in the ocean, is never seen again. Presumably a kraken or some such has gotten it. And then the way there is one way, and then the way back is another. I may never see my wife again. Am I not to dally with French prostitutes?
That's true.
All right,
I've
you're
always,
right.
you know, Ben, not to bring this into the future, but I have always thought about, like, if I'm in some scenario, plane, elevator, boat going down, and somebody wants to do it with me, man or woman, I'm Ben Franklin. I'm Franklin for life.
It is as I say, one today is worth two tomorrow.
I like that one.
Says that one. Hold on. He says if you can get one, you can get two. And if you can get two, you can get four.
Yeah. And then I also, I heard you rap about this at the Dr. Phillips, with the old rap and play.
What do you think about the? Well, that was. I always thought that was a depiction.
Was
of
that
you.
my tour with Cypress Hill?
It was the thing. It was popular. Anyway, and they had your wife up there. She's rapping mad. Rapping.
Oh, she's mad rapping.
Yeah. And then I was like, wife, and just let Ben do.
It is as I say always: a man without a wife is but half a man.
All right, okay.
Oh, wow. But he's a happy half. Oh man, he's happy.
Yeah.
He's the happiest.
Ask yourself which half. Is it from the waist down? Perhaps that's to your benefit.
Although, if you
Hamilton,
if you can get everything that a wife provides and everything else you want too, with no repercussion, that is the best thing.
It is the best
because
thing.
you have a wife that just takes care of you at home, but then you don't have to be faithful. You just do whatever
Well,
you want as well.
Here's
I
the
have
way
been striving to invent the sex robot since 1752, Tom.
I have always thought that I don't think wives want a whore.
They don't want it, but I'm just saying there was a
wives,
time.
No, wives don't want to whore.
No,
meaning. So just stay in your lanes and we're fine.
No, but I'm saying you have the wife, but then you just do whatever you want to. So so then that's the best of both worlds.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. Then I think that's what Ben Franklin had. You have the French ladies, the wife.
How did you perish, Ben? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm right here, right now.
Oh, okay. We're not going that direction. Okay.
At some point,
should have set out the guidelines. Ahead
at
of
some point in the future, I may choose to stop taking my magical potion or my scientific potion that keeps me alive.
Yes.
But it will be at my choosing and not God's. That is something I swear to.
When is the last time you saw Bill and Ted?
I believe I went to Halloween Horror Nights about 10 years ago, but oh boy, I was on a lot of acid, so I don't recall if we saw the show or not.
Everybody at Halloween Horror Nights is on drugs.
And I think
As I always say, the only way to go to Halloween Horror Nights is on drugs.
That's in the book.
I think what got Ben was an STD, and then when you die from those, it's bad.
Yeah. Oh man, it feels
they're all curable now, but back then,
No.
the way
how did you let this get so bad?
And then the one that I think the syphilis gets into your brain.
Yeah.
And then you start going.
I think
nuts.
that's what's wrong with me. I think that's what's going on with
Thomas,
me.
name how one other founding father died, and we'll accept your wisdom on how I passed.
That's true. It is the only founding father that we ever think about, and how he died is Benjamin Franklin.
The fact that Thomas Jefferson and John Adams both died on the 4th of July, the same 4th of July, that also comes up.
Well, I think they all died of easily curable diseases now. I know that.
Yeah.
So it's just like some sort of like.
A lot of the signers of the Constitution died of gout, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. The King's disease, right?
Gout or like even the hemorrhoids. It's like, it's like you die of that eventually. It's bad.
As I always say, a full belly makes a dull brain. The muses starve in a cook's shop.
All right.
Right.
So Ben, is there anything words of wisdom you want to leave us with?
Everything
today?
he's been giving us is gold. What are you talking about?
I just want people to follow my OnlyFans. I guess that's it.
So you got OnlyFans now.
Holy smokes, Ben.
I had a lot of stuff to get into, but you double booked. So
I'm sorry, Ben.
let's get your real guests
I had
in
to take
here.
my son to the doctor today, which is traumatic, by the way. We had to give him the nose camera thing, and I wanted to scream, "Stop doing this!
Stop the nose camera.
Oh, boy, please!" But
It's as I always
You want a
say.
fun fact? They can't fit a camera in my nose.
It's as I always say. You can tell you've really rattled a man when he starts shouting about his sick kid.
I didn't want the doctor to be like, "Sir, calm down. Pull yourself together. Like,
Stop crying, sir.
Yeah.
The
Like,
procedure's
you have
done.
to sit there. So Ben, thanks for coming by. We'd
We
love to have
appreciate
you
so
again.
much. Yeah.
Any last words?
I'll just remind you of these words I always say. Think of three things: whence you came, where you are going, and to whom you must account. Ben Franklin out.
All right, okay.
Oh, there you go. And he's poof, and he's gone. Wow, look at that. He's out of here. Magic potion gone.
Old-timey
this
quotes.
is my single favorite thing we do now is when we have special guests just appear out of the bathroom. It's my favorite thing.
No, I know.
We've only had
it shocks
Sal Tampano on one time, but he's still my favorite.
Yeah. It shocks me into
I know it does.
like I
It wakes you up.
like
It's like a cold plunge. I'm like,
It's like someone pushed me out on stage and the camera or the curtains open and there's a bunch of people and I'm like, oh,
and they're like, be funny.
yeah. That's what I feel like now. Usually it's just a relaxed.
Yeah, chat room loves Ben.
All right.
Yeah, you're gonna save your wig, buddy. Save that wig. Get some mileage out of that one.
All right.
That's a goodie.
So let's take a break.
Yes.
We'll be back right after this. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
Let's get right into it.
You want to get right into it?
Yeah.
Here we go, buddy. Let's play the song. Tom wanted to do a bit. He called it Weird Job Wednesday. Dan really likes it. Tom says that's bullshit. It's another Weird Job Wednesday. What are you doing? What is your job? Are you neat? Are you tidy? Or are you a fat slob? Do you make lots of money and you sit up in your tower looking down on all the people who are working by the hour? It's a Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Oh yes, it's Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Weird Job Wednesday is brought to you by Jeff's Bagel Run.
Hey, hold on.
And,
that deserves a blast. There we go.
Coincidentally, we have the founder of Jeff's Bagel Run.
We got him.
Jeff Pereira. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me in today.
Thank you for being here, man. We appreciate it. Thank you.
So, Jeff, you have an awesome story, and I love entrepreneurial stories. I love that you're a UCF guy. And
the reason we have a segment called Weird Job Wednesday is truly because I think one of the things that you and I do share is because we are a small business. We have a complete obsession with other small businesses.
Yeah.
We like talking to other small business owners. In fact, we're not really fun to go out with other small business owners because we'll sit with them and then just talk about their business. And they're
yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
So this environment is certainly better to be able to do that. But yeah, thanks for being here, man.
Absolutely.
So, Jeff, tell us how Jeff's Bagel Run started for all the listeners who don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. In 2019, I lost my job.
Okay.
I was working in a corporate gig, and my wife, Danielle, was a stay-at-home mom. She had been home for about 2 years with our daughter, and then we had another baby. And after I lost my job, I called her up, and I said, hey, guess what happened today?
All right, so yeah.
Oh, my God.
And 2019, best time to lose your job. It's like nothing is going to happen right after this.
What's coming next?
Yeah.
So I lost my job, and subsequently, she actually was being recruited back. She was ready to go back into the workforce, so she was being recruited back, and she was just like, we got this, don't worry.
Okay.
So she actually landed the job first.
God, how are women like that? My wife's like that. Like,
It's-
I'm freaking out, and she's like, what's fine? Everything is good. You
Calm
do that.
down.
I get
She is the calm. She
Yeah.
is the calm. And so when we had this overlap, we were driving from our house in Winter Garden all the way out to Winter Park to get bagels, and she's like, this is crazy. Is there anywhere I want to... And we're pretty new to the area. We had left. We were here, and then we left, and we came back. So anyway, we're like, we need a bagel. And she's like, why don't you make me one? Now, I'd never baked anything from scratch before in my life. I was always box brownies, cut and break cookies.
And she wasn't saying that in a negative way, right?
No,
Because
no.
My wife's like, why don't you make me one? Would you make me one?
She was looking out for my mental health. She thought I was going to lose my mind being a stay-at-home dad, and so she was like, do something with your time.
Right on.
It's a hobby. You'll figure it out. And, well, it became an obsession. I was like, I need to get this right. And bagels are her favorite food. So you have to understand, when she's like, make me a bagel, I'm like, I'll do it. Absolutely. I love you. I love my wife. I'll make you a bagel.
Man.
Yeah. If someone said make me a bagel, I'm like, all right, I'll drive to the store, I'll buy bagels.
And I'll put cream cheese on it.
Yeah, like I don't. What do you from scratch? I don't even know how to do that.
From scratch. So I got on YouTube, started buying cookbooks, started looking at recipes, just trying to figure it out. Lots and lots of practice, lots of bad bagels. I mean, lots and lots of bad bagels.
So can you explain real quick the process of making a bagel from scratch?
Sure. It's 5 simple ingredients: flour, salt, water, malt, and yeast.
Okay.
And you mix them all together. You proof them overnight. So, dough goes through that moment where it rises.
Yeah.
That infuses flavor. The yeast starts doing its thing. The bakery science starts to happen inside. And the next thing you know, poof, you've got bread, right? And so the bagels, though, you just form them into the little round discs. And then you put them in the fridge overnight. Next morning, you boil and bake them, and they're delicious. So
I think it's the boiling that I don't think people truly understand.
100%.
They hear it. I know I've heard a couple people do this is one of your famous jokes. Like when people hear vegetarian chili, they're like, It's like, why are you saying ooh? It's vegetables in a pot.
They don't understand the boil. They're like boil.
It's like, well, I don't understand that. So can you tell us a little bit about that and what it does?
Boiling bread is very unusual. You're 100% right. And most people are surprised by that. But when you start that process by the baking process in that boil, so the bagels drop into the water, the outside kind of starts to create that crust. It's this soft, pliable crust. It's not hard like a baked good, but it starts to bake essentially, or starts to cook. And so that par cooking in the water helps to create a thick crust. Once you get that bagel into the oven and the dough starts to expand, it has nowhere to go because that crust is already formed. And so the gluten, the sugar, all the stuff inside starts bouncing around in there and has nowhere to go. So if you think like a French baguette has the slits on top, and those slits on top let air out, and you open that baguette up and it's got holes inside of the bread. It's airy, it's light. You want to dip it in olive oil. Bagels, you break them open, and it's like you can pull the dough out of the middle. You can make little balls. You can throw them at your friends. That stuff is tough, and so it happens that way because of that forming of the crust through the boiling process.
Well, my daughter happens to think that you're like Elvis Presley in Orlando. Seriously, you're like the guy. She was very upset that she didn't get to skip school today to come and meet you. She also wanted me to ask you, how do you get the bagel, though, in the center, that pillowy chewiness? Because the first thing we do, and I know this is kind of gross, the Dennis's, but when we go to Jeff's Bagel Run, we immediately grab a bagel, we open it up, and then we start touching the pillowiness. And we're like, and we go, and then we do, it's kind of gross. It is, with our hands. We don't but we're touching them, and we're like, oh, they're so pillowy. And Maisie will be like, oh, they're pillowy, more pillowy than they've ever been. She's like, these are the most pillowy. And we're just mushing. What is, how do you get them nice and soft like that?
I wish I had the answer.
Trial and error, practice.
Trial and error. I had never baked anything in my life, so I made a lot of bad bagels. And when I finally landed on the recipe that you have in the stores today, I gave it to Danielle. I said, I think this is the bagel. This is the one. She's like, I've heard this before. This is not it. She came back. The overlap was over. She was working. It's months later.
Yeah.
She eats that bagel for the first time, and she closes her eyes. She's like, I'm in my mom's station wagon. I'm on Long Island. This is the bagel. This is the one. This is the flavor, the texture. This is everything I remember.
Because you're shooting for Bagel Mecca, right? You're shooting for New York's, New York bagel.
100%. And it's, a lot of people are like, well, it's not the water. You don't have New York this and blah, 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 blah. And you don't put the cream cheese on, or you won't do, it's about a flavor profile. It's about that. And it really comes down, I think the secret ingredient really is the malt. The malt is the trick to making a delicious bagel have that authentic New York style taste. Montreal style bagels, they use honey, so it's a slightly different process. They're a little bit sweeter.
Okay.
And so they have that sweetness on the outside, less of a savory, earthy flavor.
Montreal style.
So this is what I'm super curious about.
Never heard that before, Montreal style. Learning today.
Is when you finally find the right recipe and your wife's like, this is it, you found it. And then you're like, okay, how does that then transition into a business? Because for most people, they're like, oh, I figured out my own personal recipe and we'll be making these delicious bagels for life for myself and my family. And that's it. But they don't go further. I need to sell these.
So I just kept making them. First of all, you have to understand, bagels are her kryptonite. So when they're on the counter, she's going to eat it. It's like a candy jar in an office. People walk by and she's going to grab a bagel and she's like, listen, I got to fit in my work clothes. You got to stop making these. And I was like, I kind of like making them. I want to keep doing it. We want to have some in the house. I'm making 3-4 dozen at a time in the house. It's a lot of bagels.
Okay.
That's a lot of bagels.
It's a lot of bagels.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, why don't we give them to my friends? And so her mom group that she was in, they start getting the bagels. And then some of these families were like, we'd buy these from you.
Dude, mom groups are the way into everything.
Yeah,
you can get into a mom group, you can be a billionaire.
Write this down. We need to get into mom groups. Let's do some mom content.
I've looked at that.
I know moms. I tell my wife, I'm like, I'm going to do a mom podcast. My wife's like, no one's going to listen. No moms are going to listen to your opinion on anything.
Two dads on mommy.
So the
moms are the key. So they were the unlock. And, there's these families were like, we'd buy these bagels from you. And I was like, no, you wouldn't. I'm like a stay-at-home dad. You're not going to come to my house and buy bagels. I've never baked anything in my life. They're like, no. They're like, no, we really would. So we took some time to think about it. We figured out like what rules we needed to have in place to bake from home, all the things. And then once we figured it out, we just decided, let's go for it. We posted a menu on Facebook and Instagram, and I got like 3 orders.
Okay, so
that was it.
Yeah.
So now what timeline are we looking at?
This is now November of 2019. So I'd been baking bagels. I baked my first bagels on like September 25th of 2019. So it's a few months.
So November 2019, you find your recipe. You start selling small amounts just to
friends
and family,
yeah.
mom, your wife's mom group, and you're like, oh, okay, this goes. And you're like, all right, 2020. Maybe we'll get bigger. Like, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
It's a new year.
Oh man!
I mean, I got the whole
It is
world
giving me a
in front
little
of me.
anxiety.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, for a lot of people, that was a terrible time, right? Like, we know
of
that
course.
was tough. But for our little small business that was starting up, it was like everybody's doom scrolling. And so they're like, oh, this guy's making bagels at his house? I love bagels. Let me hit him up. I get a DM. Next thing I know, I get another DM. Next thing I know, it's another and another and another. And before you know it, I've got like 200 messages in my inbox every time I post a menu, and I can't fulfill orders. And it came, I mean, it was bagels, yes, but it was also like me knocking on someone's door, dropping a bag of bagels, and standing on the sidewalk saying like, hey, have a great day. And they're like, oh, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen anybody in like a week and a half.
Right.
And so like it really became community, and it became like a social interaction for people. And then
this is kind of where the name comes from, right?
Jeff's
Like,
Bagel Run.
Yeah,
100%.
because
you were
he was-
delivering the bagels, delivering
Correct.
all the orders,
Yeah,
and
I love that.
And so then
I also love that the mascot looks like he's running for his life. Because I'm coming. 'cause
He's terrified. I'm hungry.
I'm
I'm gonna eat
literally
ya.
coming after him with my daughter. We're going to eat the mascot.
100%.
I've always been a fan of barbecue restaurants where they have a pig with sunglasses and he's dancing in the fires, like
My sister has a rule that a barbecue restaurant's not good if it doesn't have a pig in the mascot.
Yeah, and I feel
It's
the
just
same
not.
for bagels. The bagel needs to look like he's running from you. He's so delicious that you're going to get him.
So was the name different before you started delivering them, or was it always?
No,
like,
it was just always Jeff's Bagel Run. I mean, think
Okay.
about if you think back to college, you did a beer run. As we
Yeah.
got older,
Yeah.
and we, Saturday mornings we're waking up, and even when we were living in South Florida, different places we've lived, it's like, let's go on a bagel run. We'll run to the bagel shop, we get our bagels, we come back. And so there was always like a bagel run culture within our house, and then we just started bringing it to people during COVID.
I love that.
Yeah.
So when was I guess the time where you said like, hey, we need to make this bigger, we need to turn this into a store?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
what was
the hand mixed spreads, the coffee,
For sure.
there's so many components to it, because you look at it and it is very simple, and that's why I think I love about your product is that the no toasting, the whole I like that it's a bagel, you cream cheese, great coffee, good service.
Simple. You do an unbelievable job making bagels, and the spreads are fresh ingredients.
But it's a
and
lot of
good
spreads, and it looks
local
like
coffee.
a lot of work, and it's all done in house. So
Well, we'll get to the business model, because
Yeah.
it is technically a bakery, which is brilliant, by the way. When I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, that
blew
that
my
is
mind.
awesome. So then, what's your first store? How's that work?
So we opened our first store in July of 2021. But if I rewind earlier that year, that February, we started doing some markets. The world was opening up, and so we started doing these markets. They were local, kind of in Summerport in our neighborhood over there in Winter Garden. And Mark got canceled, and the event producer, director, whatever, she was like, we can't do the event. We don't have the insurance, whatever. Like, we're gonna have to cancel. I was like, listen, why don't we just try to move the event, find a new spot? She's like, we can't move it. I'm like, trust me, if we move it, people will come. Let's figure it out. We found the new spot. Happened to be in my neighborhood that I lived in. We did it at our clubhouse in the parking lot, and it poured rain.
Okay.
I mean, poured rain. This is February of 2021.
Gotcha.
Poured rain. Everybody's packing up, except our line. The people in line for the bagels didn't leave. They just didn't get out of line. They just got soaking wet.
They're standing in the rain, like, give me my bagel.
And I'm talking like Florida thunderstorm,
Yeah.
fronts coming through,
Yeah.
sideways rain. We're in a puddle. We're soaking wet. We're protecting the bagels with tarps. People are coming up to us and buying 6 bagels, because we would only sell people 6 bagels because we didn't have enough to fulfill all the orders. So it was like they would buy 6 bagels from us in the rain.
I'm the honey guy with the. I'm saying, what the bagel guy has got all
Nobody's
the.
buying my mustache wax.
They
The bagel guy's got it.
They all packed up and left.
Yeah.
We were sitting there selling bagels for about an hour in the rain. We got home, and Danielle and I looked at each other like, look, we have a business. Like, this is
Yeah.
people don't
Yeah.
people don't stand in the rain for anything. Like, they're
I'm not going to eat a
bagels.
pickle in the rain, but I'll eat a bagel in the rain. I will eat a warm bagel in the rain. In fact, I think my daughter and I have stood in the rain at the location near the Subway in the Pizza Hut. Where's that?
College Park.
College Park,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have stood around that because, the line.
That corner.
Yeah, before we got the one in Winter Park.
Yeah.
So at our house, we had like 5 refrigerators in the garage. We were like, because you had to refrigerate the bagels overnight, so we had them like stacked up on like beer cans. It was a mess, and like we've got to make this more legitimate. How do we get this into like a business? So we started looking for space, and we found a place. We put a lease offer in, didn't get it. Found another place, put a lease offer in, didn't get it. We finally got a lease deal done, no COE. That's where our first location was.
How nervous were you guys? And like, I know you see the evidence of the people love your product and stuff, but then I'm sure everybody has doubts in the back of their mind. They're like, what if this is what if I'm wrong? I go and invest all this time and money into opening up a shop, and then they just
also
get tired of it.
I don't know what the world thinks of bagels. I know what I do, like, because my family loves them, but I don't know if people are like anti-bagel or carbs. Like, I don't know where we are, but I do know I love bagels. Yeah. So, like, how do you weigh that anxiety?
I mean, it's terrifying because here you are, have this stable job with an income coming in, you have bills to pay, a mortgage, all this stuff, and Danielle's like, we'll just find a spot, and like I think if we find the right rent, we can make the numbers work, and you can just do the same thing you're doing. We'll just maybe hire you a helper, and it won't be in our house anymore. That'd be awesome if it wasn't in our house, and like people will just come pick up the bagels from you at this like location. And so we start doing that. Meanwhile, like her job's getting like just worse and worse and worse, and like it's just really hard for her, and so she's like, I hate my job. What do I do? And I'm like, quit. Let's go full bagel. Just quit.
That's how I feel right now. I
Quit.
hate my job.
It's just
being here right now.
It's just because you're hungry right now. I'm making you hungry.
Yeah. I'm the guy. I wish I made bagels.
I know it's there, daydreaming.
I don't even know what we're giving people. We're definitely not giving them delicious bagels.
Tom looks over. I'm wearing a chef hat.
Yeah, we just gave them Ben Franklin. I don't even know if they want that.
I don't think they wanted that. In fact, the one guy in the chat room said, I like Ross without the characters.
So you open up your first store, and then is there a time where you're like, well, if people better come the first week? Are you just promoting yourself through social media at this point? Is there any other
it's
marketing?
only social media, mostly Facebook, Instagram at this point.
Okay.
Danielle we end up selling her house. She quits her job. Like, we go all in.
Okay, so it's full. You're full invested.
We are fully
full
invested.
bagel.
We're all in.
I read that from the website.
Yeah,
they went full
Danielle
bagel.
goes full bagel.
Yeah.
She and she's really like, she helped a ton from the house because, during those COVID times, and she was furloughed from her job, she was helping with the operations. She really is the one who makes the bagel run. I say that all the time. Without her, there's no bagel run. There's what it is today wouldn't exist because I don't have that. Like, I don't have those talents or skills. I'm a much more creative person.
Danielle's bagel run.
Yeah.
She didn't want anything. She didn't want her name on it. She's like, no.
Gotcha.
So
you're the face. You're the guy.
I'm the face. I get to be. I'm the mascot.
That's cool, though. That is cool.
So.
I think you need that in any business where it's two people that do and excel in two different areas.
Like, I'm the face of this show,
Yeah,
and you're the.
I'm behind the scenes. No, No, I like my place.
Me
anyway,
too.
then you have your first store, and this is where I'm curious about where the expansion and the rapid expansion of your business. How does it go from there? First store, because a lot of people would never leave the first store, and they're like, "Oh, this is my store," and this,
There's a certain comfortability once you get it there, and it's seemingly successful,
and it's going well, and things are great, and you're paying your bills, and you're making money, and you're happy, and those are all very true.
You're like, I won. This is the
I'm doing. Yes, exactly. I've won. I hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I want to do,
and you enjoy it,
and you like it. It was great. It was rewarding. It was fun. People coming in. You get customers that you know. And then another baker in town called me up probably February 22. He said, listen, I'm closing my shop. Wondering if you might be interested in buying it. This was our College Park location. And so I was immediately yes. Danielle's like, no way. We can barely run one shop. What are you thinking? This is crazy. And then so finally she's like, let's do it. We buy a second shop. This expands our ability to get more bagels out into the world.
Gotcha.
And that was store number 2. And store number 2 was hard. hard.
That's what
I think store number 2 is what stops people from doing.
So store number 3.
Yeah.
And you usually go back to 1 and be like, no more 2 stores.
Yeah. Well,
we've seen it multiple times.
We could talk about our buddy. I mean,
Okay.
Porky's and Steve White, one of our favorite barbecue guys of all time. We still love that guy and his family. They've always done us right. We love them. But he would tell us, he'd be like, he would do the expansion and do a second store, and he'd be like, oh my God.
He told us, he's like, store number 2 almost killed me.
Yeah.
He's like, because
literally had a heart attack.
I'd go to store number 2 and then to get there and be like, oh, and then you spend your time there, and then store number 1 starts, not suffering. But you're just bouncing back and forth, and then and a lot of people are like, well, this is not what I wanted. So how'd you push past that?
So I mean, it was very difficult, and I felt that same way too. I mean, Danielle and I's relationship was strained. It was hard. I was running one store, she was running the other. It was difficult. Ooh. It was not good. But one person kept coming into the shop in College Park. His name is Min. He worked at an office over by Mall of Millennia. He's like, the office loves these bagels. You really should meet my boss one day. I don't know. You guys maybe could do something. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Great, thanks, whatever. He'd come in the next day. He's like, but seriously, we're buying more bagels. Let's go. This guy Min kept pushing. And he's like, let's get a meeting with my boss. And finally, he's like, listen, my boss is the former founder of You Break, I Fix. We would love to talk to you about expanding your business. And Danielle's like, I don't know. I don't think so. I'm like, I know. I don't know. We don't really want to do that. 2 was hard. Can't imagine what more would be like, right? So,
I told you, this bagel shop's not for sale. I've always wanted to say that to somebody. Even with the fake New York accent. Like somebody walks in, I'm like, I told you, this podcast, it's not for sale.
Yeah. For me, I'd be surprised if someone wanted to buy this podcast. I'd be like, what? You want to buy this? Anything. We'll take anything.
We'll take $1.
And so then, so you're...
So we take a meeting.
Okay.
We
take the meeting.
We take a meeting. It's January. We take the meeting. We start talking to him, and he's just a normal dude who created a business in his bedroom when he was at college, and it was like, here's somebody who created something from nothing, and he's like, you guys created something from nothing. It's pretty cool. Why don't we work together? And so we started working together. And a year and a half later, we've opened 9 stores, with number 10 opening next month.
Hey!
Wow.
That's incredible. Man, congratulations.
That's
killer.
With that partnership, he was able to show you the most efficient way to open up other stores without, a lot of that knowledge, like, you can't just look it up on Google.
It's hard.
It's like every business is different, and I'm sure, but there is, like, a way to do it, and people that have been through it can guide you through it
100%.
a lot easier.
Oh, for sure. He had a team of people that were working in his office already. He's a designer, he's got an attorney, he's got all these people that know how to do things and get things done. Yeah, the infrastructure was there. He also had this experience of building a business and growing it, and he had the mistakes made already, right? So he hit the speed bumps, he hit the hurdles, and so we were the most sophisticated 2-shop bagel company in the world for 18 months, because we had this giant supply chain, we had technology, we had all these things that most people wouldn't have until they're 10, 12, 15, 30 stores deep. And we got a team of 20 people at a corporate office with 2 stores. It's silly, right? But it paid off, because now we can move a lot faster.
Well, it's like preparation, right?
100%.
You guys did the back end first.
We laid the tracks, and
then
then we're now we're just on the train going. 100%.
I mean, most people wait and then have to I see a lot of similarities, even in what we did when we were building out our business behind the scenes. We were still working our day jobs, so I get it. It also gives me anxiety because for some weird reason I live it again. When I hear somebody tell the tale. You also made the entire chat room super hungry, so we are selling.
Go by Jeff's Bagel right there.
Let's go, folks. Yeah.
Hashtag TD Bagel.
When did you decide to add? Was there ever a decision? When did you decide to add all the different types of specialty cream cheese? Because that really does set you apart. That banana pudding cream cheese.
My son was talking about this morning.
Yeah, it is. You don't. I hate to even say this, but you don't even need a bagel with that. You would just start spooning it, and then I caught Maisie eating it with Nilla wafers.
Nilla wafers. Nilla wafers in the move.
The mini
100%.
Nilla wafers, and she's just eating it. I'm like, baby, she's eating it. It's the best dance snack in the world. She just took We had a little
love
leftover Jeff's, and then she took a bag of Nilla wafers to dance. I'm like, all right, that's
Perfect.
not bad. That's not a bad snack.
So let's talk about the all the different types of bagels, the spreads that you guys
sure. It's a
offer,
lot.
and the fact that you don't overcomplicate. You know, there's certain things that you do, brilliant by the way, that I'm super impressed by. But what caused you to go that direction? Was it over time you realized like this works, this doesn't?
You know, when we moved into our first shop, it's like the simpler the better for us because it was Danielle and I. We were the only employees. I was baking every day, and then she was running the front of the house and doing like the counter service and handing people bagels. Like we didn't even slice your bagel then. We had one cream cheese plain. That was it. You know, it was like very, very simple. And then people were like, oh, maybe you should get like a scallion or a chive or something. And like, oh, we could try that. And so we started little bits and pieces, trying different things. And we hired one person, then we hired another. And so we got a little bit more efficient. We became more productive, and that helped us expand a little bit. The bagel flavors, we always had like a standard 13 or 14 flavors, but the interesting thing was we had this bagel of the day. So it was this new flavor that we'd introduce every day. And for a long time, it was just blueberry or jalapeno cheddar. That was it. Because I was the only person making the dough, you know, and like making all these different doughs just seemed like I couldn't do it. You know, I was already coming in 3 o'clock in the morning baking bagels. I'm not staying till 4 or 5 o'clock in the night, rolling dough. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. So we had jalapeno and blueberry, and the jalapeno and blueberry just ended up becoming regular flavors that we always had, and other stuff came in. So we made like a French toast bagel, or we like recently just did a tomato grilled cheese bagel, which is like the sun-dried tomato dough with salt and cheddar cheese on top. And when you take that bite, it tastes just like you dipped your grilled cheese sandwich in tomato soup. And then it's fun to be creative and be thinking about new ways to make a bagel taste like something else.
And your spreads, like there are real chives and real
100%
fruits and vegetables in the spread, which is
like the veggie one, Andrea
just so
loves.
high quality.
And the hot sauce cream cheese is my family will eat so much hot sauce cream cheese. And Andrea likes to take the vegetable and mix it with the hot sauce cream cheese, and that cream cheese has Jason's mom's
hot sauce. Yeah,
we love that sauce.
Another local guy.
Yeah.
And your coffee is.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Coffee is fantastic. So coffee is roasted here in Central Florida, Winter Garden by Otis Coffee.
Yep. I love this, by the way, too, where you just basically locally sourced.
We were neighbors.
Okay.
Glenn and Jacqueline own Otis Coffee. They were the founders of the company. They lived 3 doors down, an actual 3 doors down from our house on the same street on Mangrove Cove. And
that's a breakfast block right there.
She's walking their son Carson in the stroller, and she's like on Google Maps, just like looking around. She sees this little like pin for Jeff's Bagel Run, like in a house. She's like, "What's Jeff's Bagel Run?" So she clicks on it. She drills down, and she's like, "Glenn, you should check out this guy. He's doing coffee or bagels. Like, you know, bagels and coffee go great together. Why don't you?" So he hits me up on DM. He's like, "Hey, we should like talk about our side hustles we got going on over here." He's like, "I do coffee." He's like, "You do bagels." And so we met at the playground. The kids played. Next thing you know, we're like, you know, best friends.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's where modern day business deals are done, at the playground.
100%.
Yeah. Used to be at the bar or some smoky bar. Now it's at the playground.
You got a Stanley and your 3 kids running around.
So let's talk about the expansion, because you guys are in different states now.
Yeah, we opened in North Carolina last month.
Yeah, I told my relatives that's my people are Carolina people. So
how crazy was that for you? Because like we're not talking about the stuff that happened the early 2000s. Like this is a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
quick,
and so when you see Jeff's Bagel Run in North Carolina, does it blow your mind? You're like, oh my, I can't believe.
It's surreal.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I said, like 4 years ago, we were doing this out of our house, like my home kitchen. And so to have a store in North Carolina, to have other people interested in running our business and wanting to be a part of it it's mind blowing. It's very surreal. It's like pinch yourself every day, kind of figure out, is this real?
I always like having people in here when they say 4 years ago I was doing this out of my house, and then I think back and I'm like, 20 years ago, we were doing this out of my house. I'm like, hold on a second.
Well, there was a time 4 years ago we did it.
20 years ago, we were doing this out of my house.
Yeah. Well, we can't franchise this because there's only me and you. If we can get someone exactly the same as us, then we can put them everywhere.
AI is trying.
AI. Anyway, but so now what's your future? What's your goals? Because there are 8 Central Florida locations, correct? And locations out of state, locations locations opening up southern Florida, and so is there like a cap to this? Is that, because
you mean like a or is the sky's the limit? Just take it as big as you can make it.
Because I did hear that when you open your North Carolina location, there's a line out the door like
4 hours long.
Oh, you can see the photos. There's photos of it online.
Which is obvious that there's a market that wasn't being filled in this area, that people were like, oh, this is awesome bagel, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and so this is obviously something that no one's doing out there, and there's so many different places you could open. It seems like there could be hundreds of stores in the future.
For sure. No, and I think we don't have a top end goal. We're just like, it's like one day at a time moving forward, and we are franchising. So the model is to franchise, which helps us expand a little quicker because it's, other people's money, right? So they're taking the risk as the owner, but that also gives them a ton of, like, there's skin in the game. So they're going to be more committed to making sure that it works. And it's hard. Like, running 8 corporate stores in Central Florida is hard.
Yeah.
It is so hard because you're trying to balance this, like, feeling of like, this is at, your local bagel shop, but it's also like, like an 8 stores is a big company.
Yeah.
And
big.
it's like, it feels big and it's hard to like get your arms around it. But when you're like a 1-store owner and you're franchising in Wake Forest or Raleigh, or you're going to be in South Florida, you have this like, this is mine. And then that same feeling that we, Danielle and I have, and say, this is ours, other people are now taking that and saying, this is ours, which feels really good.
I love the franchise thing back in the day. Like when I was growing up, like I had a lot of friends whose parents were franchisees.
Yes, yeah. My neighbor
were rich. I mean, they did well, but then somewhere along the line, I'm sure with all businesses, things get messed up or what. But like I remember, like I had one friend that did Bally. Like the health club?
The fitness, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a franchise?
Just stinking rich. Oh, yeah, it was a franchise. And then I had another guy that did Kentucky Fried Chickens, I think, at the time.
My neighbor did 7-Elevens, had like 3
man,
7-Elevens.
That's the one. That's the one.
And then he moved to where Dan Marino lives.
Man, he's got a big sculpture of a bagel in his front yard, and a big gold bagel.
I remember he had the first Laserdisc, and we were watching Running Man on Laserdisc, and we're like, oh my God,
It'll
this is
never
the
be
future.
better than this.
That's amazing.
So let's talk, because me and Daniel, honestly, when we like,
Oh, you're gonna tell him this?
we're a huge fan
It's
of
a
Jeff
private
Baker.
conversation.
We were like, we should buy a Jeff
We
Baker
did that.
at the location.
We're like,
and
we're
open
gonna
it
buy
up.
one. I'm like, Stetson University in DeLand.
Let's go.
We're gonna feed the kids.
And because I'm
Feed
like
the Hatters.
Because then, like going into some of the business part of it, you guys are licensed as a bakery.
Correct.
So then there's, it's just it seems like a great franchise to own because you're licensed as a bakery.
We keep it
there's
simple.
less, yeah,
for
it's
sure.
just simple.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, it's coffee, cream cheese, bagels, right? And like, that's a very simple process. You're not frying chicken. You're not doing all these other things. The bakery licensing is it's a limitation, really. I mean, like, we can't make your sandwich. We can't prepare food for you. I can't do anything besides bake a bagel. I can slice it. Just like if you go to your Publix deli or your Publix bakery and she's like, hey, can you want your French loaf sliced or whatever? And they'll slice your bread for you, but they're not going to make your sandwich. The deli does that. That's a difference. So we work as
a different area.
We operate as a retail bakery. It does limit some of the things that we can do in the store, but it also makes it a lot easier to operate. And so you have this ease of operation. You have a lot less stuff that you have to do. You're still food safe. You're still licensed with the health department. You have all these same regulations and rules. You're just not doing as many things. So it does make it a little bit more profitable because you're not buying all this extra stuff and trying to figure out how to make payroll and how all these things work. But you run it with less people. You have the opportunity to keep the product clean and simple and easy for your customers to understand.
And it makes it probably easier because of the franchise to standardize like the product.
1,000%. Yeah.
Everybody can do the same product. You get the bagel you're getting in North Carolina is going to be the exact same.
Well, that's
as
important,
you
though. I mean,
College
probably
Park.
I'm sure to you the integrity
100%.
of your creation. I mean, how many bad bagels did you bake to preserve that one great tasting recipe that you now have? I mean,
that was the biggest challenge of scaling is how do you get
right
that recipe to be the same in every store. And bakeries have been doing this for years. There's co-packers that will put ingredients together that are portioned perfectly for you. So there's no mistakes. You don't have someone who's over measuring one ingredient, under measuring something else, and so all that stuff is very easy for the store teams to execute. They put their little ingredient packet in, add the flour, add the water, done.
Boom.
Now, before we even started the show, Jeff was showing us his custom bagel shoes.
Yeah, bagel shoes.
And
these are amazing.
We
we won't make it like have to show them, like make him do calisthenics.
I don't have an OnlyFans, so no.
Sesame seed.
Sesame
dunks.
seed.
My sesame dunks.
Bagel dunks. Yeah, these are amazing.
And so that got me thinking about: have you been introduced with other big bagel? Is there other because I'm sure that you shook up the bagel world.
You did.
And then some other people are like, "Who's this Jeff? What is he doing?"
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Oh, this guy, Jeff's making some waves in the bagel world."
Yeah.
And so have you had to deal with like any sort of
wake
big
up, find some
business
cream cheese on the doorstep or something?
I haven't woken up to like a bagel head on my bed. Hasn't happened.
What a cinnamon raisin in his bed.
What happened there? I think we are disrupting a little bit. Most bagel shops today, it seems silly to like, most disruptions is about streamlining, making it more efficient, making it easier. We've kind of done the opposite of that. A lot of bagel shops that you go to today are a frozen product that comes in that's like just reheated in the store. They toast it up, make a sandwich, do something, maybe serve it to you in a bag, whatever. We're like going backwards. We're like, let's make it from scratch. Let's do it the hard way, the old-fashioned way in the store, but that's going to make it better, tastier, fresher product. Like, we're really invested in that.
I've never got one not warm in the bag.
There's always going to be at least one warm one, for sure.
I've never gotten warm bagel. Like, I mean, I'm sure you can get, bagels that are still fresh, but they're not piping hot. But I always get warm ones.
But it's also the brilliance of what you're doing is like, hey, we're making an insanely good bagel and spread. And that's and we have good coffee, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we're not doing something where like you want something, you want a half a steak on this? You're like, steak. I mean, you're cooking steak back there.
Some people hate this.
It's like, why are you? It's too much.
Well, some people hate this, but it's like the Cheesecake Factory, right? It's like the Gordon Ramsay used to always yell about like your menu's so big. He's like, God, what do you do? Yeah, I mean. I don't know if even you and I could handle bagel spread and coffee. We could handle bagels and spread. You know what I mean? Like three things really, really good is still very hard to do.
It is, and
especially with sprinkle and then what's the one with salt and then Asiago and then
the
onion.
Oh, the Abbey.
The Abbey.
The Abbey.
Have you the Abbey?
That's the Abbey is a salt, onion, and Asiago cheese bagel. I used to make it at home. My oldest daughter loved it, and then she went off to college. She'd visit us in the shop, and she's like, "Hey, we make that bagel I used to make at home." And so I'd make it for her, and then my team was like, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" And I'm like, "Oh, I made this bagel." And then they started asking me to make the Abbey bagel. And so customers are, of course, like watching the team eat this bagel. They're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a salt, onion, Asiago bagel. Like, that'd be really good. Can we make that?" And so it got into the bagel of the day rotation. And now it's like probably like the second, maybe first most popular bagel of the day.
It's a deadly bagel.
It's
like,
so
it's a really
It's like
good
French onion
bagel.
soup in a bagel.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
That
it's so
bagel,
good.
I get that with hot sauce because I'm always with the hot sauce cream cheese. And then now I get this is the boringest thing I order, but plain with banana. Plain with the banana pudding.
Now, the banana pudding is Danielle's recipe too. It's so good.
God, the banana pudding cream cheese is ridiculous. Frosted cake with it.
If I'm imagining if I had Tom's Bagel Run and then my kids were like, "Make me a bagel," I'm like, "Go to the store." Down the street, there's 8 locations. So, do you still make bagels at home?
We do not make them at home.
Okay,
you gotta get it out of the house.
No more bagels at home. It all takes place in the shops. We'll just,
there you go.
we just like this morning I DoorDashed some to the house because
over there. That's I knew it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, Jeff, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
It's been so much fun.
Should I apologize to him now for the song? Should I do
it?
Okay. Did you like the song?
The song was awesome.
Okay, I thought it was too aggressive. Hold on, I'll play a little bit.
Play a little bit, yeah.
Okay, I'll play a little bit for
so
him.
good.
Always void, never toasting. Just bagel one, they got
The most, kid.
Just bagel one, you gotta get you some. Just bagel one is the best. Yo, what's the bagel of the day?
Yeah, right. Like, what's the bagel? It's too much. It's
It
too much.
is a little aggressive.
It's a little aggressive. So I did another one for you because I didn't feel. Okay. Do you like yacht rock at all?
Sure.
Okay, I'm just going. Okay, I did this one is like more of like a yacht rock style. I thought you would like this one maybe better. This one's groovier.
This got a little.
And this is like more of, I think, a Jeff's vibe.
Yeah.
Instead of the other one, which was very aggressive and like almost
this
gangster
is
rap.
this is like front of house. The other one was back of house.
Correct.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Start your morning
Oh yeah.
off for fun. We're down at Jeff's Bagel Run.
I love this.
Bagel
So good.
coffee and cream cheese.
Oh yeah.
Have another if you please. It's a smooth bagel morning. Welcome to some. It's a smooth bagel morning. Jeff's Bagel Run.
I need the music video.
Yeah, that one's good.
We need the music video for this.
This one's like 70s, early 80s yacht rock. You're out on the
That's good.
yacht. You've only got 3 things on your boat. You've got shrimp cocktail, white wine, and Jeff's bagels.
So that's good.
That's all you have.
That's
And you're
all you need.
sailing out to You're sailing out to meet Christopher Cross for some bagels. All right.
That's awesome. Well, Jeff, congratulations on all your success.
Please give Danielle some love from us. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for the
Absolutely.
product. And
Did they ever invite you to UCF to do any speeches for the young entrepreneurs at
Yeah.
UCF?
I think So last year we talked with yes.
Okay.
There was a group, the business.
we did that. They
we
asked us to leave.
we did it one time and never talked to us again.
In fact,
We've only done it one time as well. If it makes you feel any better, we want more.
We did it, and I think at one point I looked, and we had like 20 minutes left, and the lady was like, "That's our time."
Yeah. We started going into things that were like, this is not what we wanted. Like, you don't know anything about the business?
I'm like,
We should-
yeah,
just
I had
make
put my
jokes, I
leg up
guess.
on a stump. I'm like, let me tell you what's wrong with the government. Uh-oh. All right,
Well,
let's get out of here.
Thanks, Jeff. Again,
you.
When you go by Jeff's
Yes.
Bagel Run,
Get the app. Use the app.
Yeah,
it shows you like real time what's going on in the stores.
Yeah,
so.
your app is great, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
It's
so-
way better than we've been told that ours is I can't even say what it is. It's not good though. I'll say it's not good.
but use a hashtag TD Bagel. That lets us know
it does.
that you went by, and that's important to the relationship. But we're happy to have you guys as a sponsor, and we're super excited to just work with you and obviously talk about an awesome product. Like when I knew you were coming on board, I was like, this is awesome and very easy for us just to tell our audience, like, these are awesome bagels, and they do an awesome job.
Well, as a small business, it's very fun for us to talk about small businesses that actually succeed.
yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
All right, we will see you guys tomorrow. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Cadillac Pat's here. How you doing?
How we
Pat?
doing? How we doing? How we doing? What's going on?
So, Pat, I'm a little disappointed because
Why?
Why?
Why are you starting on a negative,
well,
man?
you
What
walked
the
in
hell?
and you have your stereotypical 90s superhero outfit on. You
Yeah.
have some fluorescent
Yeah, there's
yellow
the
and
shorts so you
pink
can see 'em.
and green shorts like
Yeah.
the 90s. It's
Yeah.
very
You look like a lifeguard today.
what
Ooh.
was that club that Saved by the Bell worked for in the summer?
Oh, where Stacy the Carosi works.
yeah.
Oh, holy sh**, that was old Scientology.
We got,
You gotta mark that.
I know. My
37
God.
seconds.
I forgot where I was. No, because that's Leah Remini.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
Like-
like her beach club. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, it was. Yeah, what was the name of that?
Anyway, they all dressed in those bathing suits. I'm like, okay. And then you got
Yeah.
a turquoise, some sort of Florida shirt.
Sorry, I
Okay.
got excited.
But then you have public slides.
Yeah, put your.
I had to
take them off and
represent-
hold them up.
I had to represent for Publix.
Now I feel like
I wish I had one Dixie slides.
Yeah, these are limited. I don't believe they sell these anymore. I think these came out about 5 or 6 years ago.
yes, these are very
Vintage.
yeah.
2019.
2019.
Yeah, that's about right.
2016, something like this, and you throwing it off with the 90s.
But yeah, but
You gotta go
I
back.
forgot I had them, so I brought them in just for you guys. Because
I
you
love
guys, I see the Diet Mountain Dew, which means you guys walked to Publix this morning.
We did.
Yeah.
We walked to Publix
Every morning.
every morning.
Yeah.
And we go in there. And
see
Have
Jordan.
you seen how much
See
money
Jordan.
we spent on Publix? Don't look at
Yeah,
it.
I did look at
see
it
the
one
credit
time.
card statements, and I'm like, oh my
Last
god.
year we spent $37,000. Did you know that? $37,000.
It's easy to do at Publix.
We need to have a sponsorship just so
At
they give us
Publix?
the free daily
I'll
stipend.
drink any. Look, if Steven Seagal's Asian Energy wants to sponsor our show, I'll start drinking that. If Ric Flair's Woo Energy,
Oh,
wants to
the Woos, yeah.
I'll do Woo Energy. I'll do any type of
Hogan's American beer, the American.
that's the only one I won't do.
Oh,
I won't,
okay,
sorry,
all right,
Hogan.
okay.
I won't do that. Hulk Hogan's All American Racist beer.
Yeah. It's hard to promote because I can't tell the audience that it's good.
yeah.
I can't even say
Yeah.
anything good
Yeah.
about it. I can say
Yeah.
take a picture of you holding it, your friends will laugh.
Yeah. Look at me, brother.
But that's
You know,
true.
yeah,
That is
just
true.
Take a picture and say, "Look at me, brother."
Just
and
buy
your
it.
friends will laugh.
Yeah, buy it for the joke. It's the Spencers of beer.
Yeah. It's the
That's it.
It's the new Billy beer.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
right.
yeah,
You know,
okay.
you remember when
Yeah.
everybody would
Yeah.
go and get a Billy beer, and then
And-
my mom and dad had Billy beer.
Wasn't it like lower alcohol, like 2% or something? I think that was the joke of it.
Billy beer?
Yeah, I thought it was lower alcohol. That was like that was the cliche nickname you would call like lower alcohol beer.
Oh, you
didn't
call
know
it
that.
Billy Beer?
I
Yeah.
thought it was Billy Carter. It was Jimmy Carter's brother, and he had his own beer.
Look it up. I bet it's lower
And
alcohol.
I remember my mom and dad took me on a road trip to Billy's service station, Billy Carter's service station, and they bought Billy beer. That's how redneck we were.
Was it a service station
I'm
named
like
after him?
99% sure it's like low, like 1.9% or really low, really low.
Well, there used to be a lot of states. They don't really have the same, but I remember in Colorado when I
Yeah,
first
here it
started
is.
going-
I've been here. I've been to this place.
Is it owned by his family?
Gotta be.
The Mill Jennings sold the station to Billy Carter, brother of President Jimmy Carter.
Have you seen Jimmy Carter lately?
Oh, yeah, that's
wow.
rough.
Hey, right
Just,
there.
did he just turn 100? He's about to turn 100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing that guy is still alive.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
Like-
also amazing that they're trying to pass it off like he actually voted.
Yeah.
Come on. Really? I mean, I have
saw
a
them in
feeling
the
this
news.
was like you're holding his
You
hand
held it,
and you're circling in the bubbles, you know.
Yeah,
Breathe once if you want Kamala. You know,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
was going on there, right?
That's
What
exactly
was
right.
happening?
You weekend
he
at
looks
Bernie's.
crazy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I
Weekend at
asked
Bernie's.
Andrea this. I asked Andrea and her mom yesterday. I was like, because they're saying he voted. He wanted to live long enough to vote for
Yeah.
Kamala Harris was the quote. And then I was like, well, if he votes and he mails it away, but then he dies, does his vote count? And they were all like, yeah.
Yeah. As soon as it gets in the mail, that's where you're going.
Yeah, if it makes it to the mail,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
good, right?
Good question.
So it's like state lines.
But does it matter when the election actually is?
I-
Because
I-
like this person's dead.
That's
Yeah.
what
Like,
I
I
thought.
knew
That's
Because he
what I
did it
thought.
early.
That's
He
what
did
I
it
thought. And
early.
then I started yelling. I started
Yeah.
screaming, my pillow. Andrea got mad. Okay, never mind.
So how you doing, Pat?
I'm doing great, and I brought a present for each of you today.
Oh, a present.
my
another
God.
homemade piece of art from myself.
I kind of feel like Jigsaw called all of his contraptions presents, right? He's like, I have a present for you.
Well, I ran into Daniel at a restaurant a couple weeks ago, and
Yeah.
we took a photo together. So
We did.
I made a little like kind of coaster.
I love that.
I make these a lot, like make it look weathered.
Now,
That's pretty awesome. Maisie's going to love this, dude. That's
Good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
so Daniel did tell me about your interaction at the restaurant. He's like, I saw Pat at the restaurant the other day. His friend who was with was freaking out, like,
Yeah,
saying,
he-
like, hey.
Yeah,
And then-
first of all, I didn't know Pat was gay.
yeah. That's what Daniel
Pat's
told
at
me.
a sushi
A sushi
restaurant
place with my buddy.
with a hot dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's two hot dudes at their sushi restaurant. What does that mean? Gay. Everyone knows that. That's an Orlando staple.
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
go into a sushi
By
restaurant and
ourselves.
there's two hot dudes eating dinner together,
Yeah.
they're probably like famous gay people.
Yeah.
On a Monday afternoon, there was like no one there when we got there.
it was really nice. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I've been there a few times. I asked them to go there because I like going. I feel
Kabuki.
I feel fancy
They're
going
not
there.
a client. I wish they were. I don't know if we'll ever have a client quite as fancy. That place, I mean, it's a good sushi restaurant, man.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, when you
I will eat so much sushi at that restaurant.
Yeah.
And they have Hitachino white ale on draft. So good.
When you see two good-looking men having lunch at a sushi restaurant in the afternoon, you're like, well, are they college students? Like, no, middle-aged.
Yeah.
But
We're
are
just
they-
rich.
are they-
We're independently wealthy.
Yeah, I want that feeling.
Are they businessmen?
No,
You're like,
well,
no.
they are. Well, they are.
Well, one's dressed like Zach Morris.
Yeah, and I
And you're
was.
like, oh, okay. Oh, then gay. That's the only
Yeah.
explanation.
It's flamboyant.
I saw Andrea checking me out too, and I was talking to you at the table there.
Yeah.
I saw her like eyeballing me up and down. I had like a vintage.
Do you want to know
Bulls
what she
shirt.
said? Do you want to know what she said?
What?
She said, don't make any movements. I'm kidding.
Can't make a piece of
It's not a
She
movement.
did. She didn't
I
do
know.
that. But like that's the thing, right? Where you walk into a place and you see somebody. No, Andrea goes, "You're not gonna believe who's here." And I'm like, "Oh." And she goes, "Dude, Cadillac Pat's over in the corner with his boyfriend."
And
And I'm
I
like,
They were like, I knew it.
I got up to go over to say hi, and I'm like, he goes, bro, do you need to go over there? And I'm like, I don't know if I should go over there because they're having dinner. You know, like I'm not interrupting their
we
meal.
hadn't started yet. We had just gotten there.
Oh yeah, and I made sure to look and make sure they weren't mid bite too. Like
Yeah.
then I go over and I'm trying not to stay too long, and I go over, I go, yo Frank, did I say too long? He's like, no, you did good. I'm like, okay. Cool.
No, you were fine.
I don't like any
You could
celebrity.
have come over and ate with us. I don't care.
They asked for it when they got famous. You can
Yeah,
go up
yeah,
there.
yeah.
You start pounding the table. Take a picture with me. You asked for this. You're rich.
I am sort of the opposite of Chapel Roan. I am definitely. I don't get angered by it. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Please say hi. I mean, because Tom and I, trust me, we do know where our chickens have hatched.
Yeah. No,
And we know. We are very lucky and grateful
Yeah,
boys.
yeah.
when
so
you're
I get it.
when you're struggling celebrities like me and Dan.
Yeah. You'll take what you can get.
Anybody. Me,
Yeah.
Daniel, having a beer with Mike.
Yeah.
We're all in the same.
Did you know?
We're like, oh, they know us.
Did you know, Pat, that we now? Well, I mean, at one point we were the biggest podcast in the city, and we probably still are. I'll throw that out there. Maybe
They live here.
that live here.
Yeah, I would-
outside.
I would
Yeah,
believe-
there
I
is
tell people
one in
that.
Deltona bigger.
Orlando proper.
Yeah, Orlando proper. But I will say that we have now fallen to about the level of having a beer with Mike. Or a
where people
family-
heard, like,
Family
oh, yeah.
Auto Mart.
I used to know those guys. They
Yeah.
still doing it.
Yeah,
Weird.
I tell people that, and I get that sometimes. When I mention the monsters, I mention
don't
that.
be for real,
Yeah,
Pat.
we're-
We're trying to joke around.
Sometimes. The older crowd. The older
You're
crowd.
actually making us sad.
Yeah, you are.
It's only
That one got me. I had to turn the camera on you because I was starting to cry.
It's only funny if we're making fun of ourselves, but people are like, "Oh, they're
Yeah.
just saying that. They're really." But
It
when
is
you say
sorta
it's like,
true.
you're like, "Oh, I've had multiple conversations with people about that. They still doing it."
Yeah. I mean, it happens. I'll get emails about it. I'll get emails from people like, "You're still doing this?"
And then you're like, "Yeah, we're doing it. Here's where we're doing it." Mama,
yeah.
I thought you said you missed us.
No, I mean, I
Nah.
do, but I miss you.
Too busy.
I miss you in the way that I like you. I don't like what you're doing now.
But only enough to casually mention it. Never to actually download.
So
your
what
app.
did you?
I got one for Tom too. I just made this. I like doing this. This is funny to me.
What is this?
I put myself in one of your photos.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So you photoshopped you.
Well, he cut it.
Yeah.
It's not Photoshop. It's primitive.
Yeah. This is an actual cutout picture
Hold on, let me.
of Pat with my family. This is me and my family at Dr. Phillips
Pat dressed in a pith helmet
watching Harry
behind
Potter.
your sons. He's
Yeah. I'm not that good with computers.
Which I think your cell phone does this for you now. Like it literally just has a tap and then it cuts it out.
He cut it out with scissors. He used the finest of glue sticks.
Yeah. And I think he just glued a picture on. Your iPhone now just click on a
I've
picture.
done that.
Yeah.
And then you can insert it anywhere.
But to be honest, you did it by accident.
Well, I did
You're like,
it.
what? The background doesn't clear. What happened?
And then I couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. I was like, why is this? Goddamn. I'm just mad. I started to have to hard reset my phone. Anyway, thank you, Pat. I will cherish this picture.
Sure.
Put this
You should,
on
you
my
should
desk.
put it in Crystal's purse.
Oh my God!
Just
Please
put
do
it
that.
in Crystal's purse.
Please, or put it
so
on your
she
wall.
finds it. So she
Replace a picture on your
Yeah,
wall.
Take a picture that you have on your wall and slide it in the frame.
Oh
Do you
my
think
God.
I mean, she's hyper vigilant. Would she notice?
Oh,
it?
she'll be like, he was here.
He knows where we live.
TC doesn't lock the goddamn back door. He's got him here.
Or the front door.
Yeah.
So what else you been up to, dude? What you been doing?
Nothing. But I did bring some stuff.
Okay.
I brought some stuff I wanted to show you guys.
Okay, go
All
get
right.
it. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's
look
do
at
it,
it.
man. It's always nice when Pat brings in his treasures.
I think I walked by these items and I was like, oh, this is a perfect tie-in to our promotion with Tony Hawk.
Well, I mean, he did. Like, I sent him an email about that to set it up. This was
No,
all my idea.
all right,
Yeah,
good
it's
job.
No, I did not. No, I was lying to you.
I have been hiding treasures though. I think I sent you an email a couple weeks ago. I went out after having a couple cocktails in my house like at 10 o'clock at night, and I went and hid treasures around my neighborhood. I drove to a different street with little like mason jars, and I put them in
yeah.
strategic places, and two of them are
That's what
still
the
there.
Casey Anthony murderer
You can
did.
still
Like,
see
driving
them.
around with mason jars.
One on
and-
Woodbury Road that you can
Yeah,
still
that's
see. I see it every day.
terrifying. That's terrifying.
10 o'clock at night, the best time to hide treasures.
Yeah. It might have been a little later.
The best time to run around a neighborhood
Yeah,
with
we got
mason jars.
wearing Oakley
yes.
blades. Yeah, we got a band of Tiny Dukes and Oakley blades hiding mason jars in the wood.
With a flashlight.
That won't cause any alarm
No.
to the people looking out their windows.
All right. What
So
do
I
we,
brought my original skateboards from back in the 90s. These are mine from when I was a kid.
All right.
We got a Red Dog Ale.
Both are Powell Peralta's. One's Frankie Hill and one's Ray Underhill. These are like famous pro guys from the 90s.
Okay, hold up the Bulldog one in
Yeah,
front of you.
this one they still make. You go right now to Tilly or any of these skate shops, they still make and sell this exact board. I don't know why, but I was at like a Tilly like in the last couple of years and I saw this like for sale and I was like, why are they still? It must be cool now.
First
but
of all,
it's
you
coming
should
back.
not go into Tilly's.
Yeah, no, I knew you.
50-year-old man. You know, I go there and I'm repelled like a magnet.
It's the classic fish shaped skateboard of the 70s.
Yes.
Fish.
Which,
70.
which does tie into our promotion we're running with the
Yeah.
Museum of Art with the Grant Britton exhibition.
Yeah, it's the Tony Hawk and Grant Britton photo exhibition. It's going to be amazing. It's at the Orlando Museum of Art, and Tony Hawk's going to be there.
Yeah.
When? Let's go.
November 7th, you could buy meet and greet tickets now.
When are we going as like a podcast group? Like, because I'm involved.
You
now.
want to go?
Well, you're going to have to buy it. And the meet and greet, there's only 75 meet and greet.
Yeah.
In fact, we're
It's-
airing this on Monday. It may be sold out by now. But check the Museum of Art's website, and it'll show you. But there's a meet and greet tickets where there's a limited amount. And then there's tickets to just see the discussion between him and Grant Britton.
Yeah.
Which it's a small little auditorium that's in the Museum of Art that they showed us.
It's a great little auditorium, super intimate.
Yeah, me and Daniel are going to be there, and then you get to see an awesome, Grant and talk to his buddy Tony Hawk, and like just to see Tony Hawk, who's a GD living legend
For
for
sure.
me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
weird.
he's on the list of most famous people, icons of my generation.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
with Tony Hawk Pro Skater and just who he is, and then now for his grandson, was it a baby that his son?
I think it was a son, yeah.
Married and had a kid with Kurt Cobain's daughter.
Yeah.
And they just recently had a kid.
They just recently had a baby.
And so just the 90s pop culture lineage of that family
Yeah.
is insane now.
Wow,
It's
yeah.
like,
Also,
like
it's
that,
weird to think of a person that's been doing what he's doing, and I kind of echo this in my own career. It's weird to think that he has only done that since, like, let's say 13, 14
Yeah,
ish.
yeah,
Like, you take
exactly.
that moment to, like, where he is now, and not much. I mean, he's in
Yeah.
the same career.
he's been a professional skateboarder.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I sometimes I think about like how weird it is that I have been talking into a microphone for 30 years. I'm only like 48 years old. That's a long time. That's a very long time.
Yeah, I'm doing the same
to
thing.
be doing the same
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
he's got me by 20
yeah.
years. Like.
And
It's
he's
crazy.
he's really not that old either, but
No.
he just broke his femur about a year ago, legit femur, and they were saying he may never skate again. But I think he already's back on a skateboard.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's never.
yeah.
Yeah. When you,
I don't know if you can take that away from him.
I don't think you could tell Tony Hawk he could never skateboard.
Yeah.
He'll find a way.
Yeah.
Like that is in his DNA at this point.
And
But-
he's so humble, which is cool.
What's this other board?
The
you
other
got
one is
here?
my more recent one that I got when I was like 16.
Okay.
It's another guy named Ray Underhill. It's another pro board, another Powell Peralta board that I had. But it's got slime ball wheels, which were the deal back in the 90s with German bearings and tracker trucks. You were
a tracker guy.
I was a tracker man, not
All right.
Pro Wing or Gull Wing. Ugh.
Gull wing trucks? Yeah.
No,
I was
no.
an independent truck guy.
Independent, yeah.
I was
a
an independent
tracker
truck
man.
guy, and I was a Spitfire wheels.
Spitfire. See, these are slime ball.
Yeah.
what about bearings too? Like
Yeah,
the
German.
bearings-
The German. That's what I had. They were called German bearings. I don't know if they had a brand.
Nowadays, everything's China.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it.
Yeah, like there's
I'm
no.
sure if we were to ask like our buddy Tony Rage or Tony Monjet, who still skates, that he would
Yeah.
probably be like, no, it's not all China crap.
If you showed me, you're like, this is made in Germany. What the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
Now, did you
weird.
have any skate? Like the thing when I was a kid, and I don't know if this is still a thing. I'm imagining it is because kids are mean as hell. But when I was a kid, there's no way in hell that my dad was going to allow me to have a Powell Peralta board or a Vision board or any of the big name skateboard brands before I got a crappy board and I really used it.
Yeah.
So the only board I was allowed to have before I could upgrade to a bigger board, because we didn't have a ton of money, was a Veriflex.
Oh yeah, that's what I had one
a
too.
purple Veriflex
Yes,
skateboard.
I did too.
And I will tell you that I had the Veriflex, and then I eventually rode the crap out of it, and then my dad bought me a mini. Remember when they would do minis?
Penny boards.
Or no, it wasn't a penny board. They would do like full size, and then they do like a miniature version of the. It was just a little bit smaller.
Yeah, okay, I kind of
And
do.
I got a mini Psycho Stick, which was a vision board that had the crazy guy with the sunglasses on the back of it.
Yeah.
And that board, it was a great board, super expensive and everything, and never rode as good as my Veriflex. My Veriflex was a great board.
I had a Veriflex. God, I remember
my
that now.
Veriflex was a better board.
See, I'm younger than you Dogtown boys. I'm a millennial, so I got the standard Alien Workshop in the 94. And then, regular board, I did, like the old fish, I was like, that's an old man thing. I'm like, we run standard.
Well, it's got, like, I remember when the deal was, like, everybody was coming out with boards that had, to my dad, he's
my
like,
Veriflex,
which part is the front? Which part is the back? This ain't real.
This is the first iteration of with a tail and whatever you call the front. My Veriflex didn't have a front, the nose.
Yeah.
But this is the first. This is the like right when the nose came out like this.
Yeah, my Veriflex.
This is like
my
94.
Veriflex too. My Veriflex also had a nose guard. It would run a nose guard.
Yeah,
in the front.
you could take it off. You take it off. You're not
I
cool.
didn't take my. I left my
or
nose
the
guard
like
on.
the tail guard too. I don't think
I had a tail pad. I had rails, and then I had a nose
rails,
guard, and it was a purple Veriflex.
I remember you wanted the back, like, because you stop by stepping
Nash.
on the board.
Somebody in
and-
the chat room had a Nash.
Nash.
That was another, like, when you were getting skateboards, me and my buddy Dave, he had a Nash, and I had a Veriflex, and yeah, we got made fun of for having crappy boards.
My dad built me a half pipe in the backyard when I was like 13.
Whoa.
No, really?
Yeah, but it wasn't like it was the width of a piece of plywood, so 4 foot wide.
Nice.
And it was once you dropped in, you immediately went up the other side. So you couldn't, and it was like too steep. We just built it. There was no internet.
Yeah.
You just draw with it on a and then cut it.
I know a bull when I see
Yeah.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was too hard.
Yeah. And then he builds it. It takes him a long time.
Yeah.
And then you invite your friends over, and the
Yep.
friends are like, "This stinks."
Yeah.
So then it just gets rained on.
And it was gone in a year because it wasn't pressure treated wood.
Yeah. And it starts bubbling up,
Yeah.
and then
Why do dads always do such dumb things?
because they want to make their kids happy.
Yeah.
But it's always bad.
Yeah, no, because they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
They're
there's-
not a professional ramp builder. They're just a dude.
I remember we had a party to build it, and my dad just he had his friends over. And I remember them drawing. Yeah, they had his redneck friends over, and they drew like the drop in like angle. And I remember
Hey,
they
look
weren't
at
happy
this.
with it.
That looks good. Hey.
We even modified. He cut it, and he cut it too
No.
deep, and then they actually bought another piece of 2x4 or another piece of plywood and slid 2x4s to make it not so crazy of an angle. Like, so it was like
Round
even
it out.
it had a Band-Aid on it from the day one. Like it was already fixed.
Pat, was your dad into any interesting over the top things? Did he
No,
have
he was an
collections?
electrician. No,
Was he a muscle guy like you?
He
Was he a
he
workout
did
dude?
work out.
Yeah.
Did work out. He still worked out until like a few years ago. But yeah, he worked out as a younger man, and he skateboarded too. He tried to set the Guinness Book of World Record. He contacted Guinness. He wanted to skateboard from the tip of Tallahassee or the top of Florida all the way down to Key West or something.
I think you need to take up that mantle. You need to take up that mantle, and we got to make this happen.
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
What if you did it? What
no,
if you did it?
that would be
Is
hard.
Dad still around?
Yeah.
Okay. What if
He wanted the, so
You gotta
that
do
at
this-
the time was a Guinness Book of World
No, they
Record?
denied him. Guinness. That's how skateboarding was such a nothing of a thing. They said no, this is not even a thing we do. So you don't. He has the paper
God.
that Guinness said we
I'm
don't
gonna
do
tell
this.
Tony Hawk this what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. A friend of mine.
It was like 1980.
Crazy dad was gonna skate for the tip of Tallahassee.
Yeah, or the
To-
top of Florida, Jacksonville, something like that.
So the whole length of Florida,
Yeah,
he's gonna skateboard.
yeah.
Dude, you got to take this up.
I still have his skateboard too. I have a Tony
Oh my
Alva.
God! You ride your dad's Tony Alva skateboard and you finish it for dad.
We follow you.
Yes.
In a chase, we have a chase vehicle.
Yes.
We get it sponsored by Just Call
I'm
Mo.
on I-95s.
Yeah. 15 days later, you're
Yeah.
still on I-10 between Tallahassee and Gainesville, and you're like, I have to quit. I've been fired from my job,
and we're like,
I'm dying.
And we're like, that's fine. We're done with the bit.
Yeah, we've been over this for a week anyway.
We used to do.
She talked about it at the beginning, and that's it.
I'm gonna peel the curtain back for a little bit. They make people bad, but I don't care. I'm almost 50. I don't care anymore.
All right.
We've done, in my radio career of almost 30 years, I have done multiple bits where I will then talk to somebody who is doing a length of feet.
Yeah.
Like they're going like, hey, I'm going
Walk
from.
across. I did it.
Yeah, you did it.
I rode a
Everybody-
scooter from Tampa
Yeah.
to Orlando, which is not that big of a deal.
It's
whatsoever.
these bits are interesting for about the first 35 minutes you're doing them.
Yeah.
And then every time you have to go and call that person to get a check out about, okay, hey, Jim, where are you at?
Yeah.
All right, I'm right outside. I'm right outside Houston. It's just so boring. No one cares. I don't care. You know what?
You drove that Suburban from Texas too.
Just
No.
walk into traffic. I don't even care anymore.
I stayed at a Mini Cooper dealership
No one
for.
Oh, yeah.
The people at the station are done with it after the first couple hours. And
we are.
you're stuck there because Mini Cooper paid who the hell knows how much.
You're sleeping in here.
But you
So
got
right-
the good one you figured out was when you and Tiffany faked like you were on a train or whatever, like you were in your house.
Tiffany wasn't part of that. That was me.
Oh,
I
sorry,
faked
sorry.
the train.
I'm the train. I'm the train.
So Pat, we gotta go.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
I'm sorry.
Great.
Where can people find you?
Find me at the Brass Tap every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Waterford Lakes. It's the only one in Orlando in Waterford. Come see me.
All right, Waterford Lakes Brass Tap.
Look for the treasures. If you
Yes,
find-
they're still there.
Yeah, look.
And if you go on Woodbury Road, there's 4 of them.
There's
Okay,
4
Woodbury
treasures
Road.
on Woodbury Road.
Yeah.
just randomly.
Yeah. Just
Like,
random places.
did
Yeah.
any-
Woodbury. How long is Woodbury Road?
Probably about 3 miles, maybe
Okay.
2 miles.
I'm going out there today.
Somewhere there's some
Are they
treasures.
marked treasures? Or
Well, one of them, again, it's a mason jar, and it says "Open Me." I mean, it's a little mini mason jar, but it's,
oh my
I hung
God!
it.
You open it.
It's
the
right
gas starts
there.
pouring out of it.
It's right there. I
Poisons
just
you.
saw
You
it.
wake up next thing you know, Pat's behind you, pumping away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he'll hold you down. He's buff as hell. All right, we will see you tomorrow.